In Canada and the UK, people are saying, you don't have to be to live here, but it helps. It's being normalised and facilitated by the government. Hello there, you awakening wonders. Remember, we stream these days at these times, and from June the 9th, we'll be back streaming a brand new fantastic show, Get Rumble Premium, because you're going to need cheering up, because ending your own life is becoming normalised by the globalist establishment. What kind of godlessness, what kind of pitiless, remorseless world normalises? Of course, here is the counter-argument to my position that life is sacred and that we're here to love one another and live in graciousness and grace. Here's the counter-argument. Oh, what if people were so ill and life so miserable that would be a blessing? Well, I suppose I understand the idea of a mercy killing, but there have been many times in my own life when I would have embraced the idea of a medical inoculation against feeling itself. There have been times in my life where I would have been glad to have left this plane of reality. Thankfully, though, it is a sin to take your own life, and no one has the power to make that decision. Now, I think any of us with a jot of common sense can see the difference between someone fragile on a hospital bed, basically dead anyway, held alive by tubes and wires. But hey, let me tell you, I've looked at my own son in that situation, and I'm pretty glad that he made it. But if someone's lived for 80 years and they're atrophying into total decline, I suppose that's a different conversation. The idea that depressed people, disabled people, and poor people might be assisted into is an indication of the values of a culture that is dangerously awry. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat while we look at a series of news items from the UK and Canada, as well as an article in Zero Hedge that talk about the new phenomena of assisted dying. In Canada, they've even got an acronym for it. MAID. Oh, you made it. You made it to Thank you, bye. Enjoy the lake of fire, fuckers.
Opponents of MAID argue it's being used as an alternative to social or medical support.
We could give people social or medical support. It's a bit boring, though. Yeah, I suppose it is a bit boring, isn't it? Kindness and love. Yeah. What if we just started killing people? Yeah, that'll work. We've got wars, we've got diseases deliberately manufactured in laboratories, we've got the medications to those diseases deliberately manufactured in laboratories, and then, of course, there's good old get the people to end their own lives because they're so miserable and we've made the world such a dreadful palace of endless sin and despair.
Ramona Coelho, a family doctor, says it's far quicker to get aid in dying than specialist care.
Ramona Coelho is actually a name that cheers me up just hearing it. Ramona Coelho. How could you go, here's Ramona Coelho. Hey, a tuna macada. It's a hell of a phrase. This is Ramona Coelho. Actually, I'm starting to feel a bit better. Sorry, major decision. Night.
Canada has fallen off a cliff. I wouldn't even call it a slippery slope. When people have suicidal ideations, we used to meet them with counselling and care.
We could do counselling and care. Or, can I finish this sentence for you? We could just start killing people and pretending that it's compassion and care. Do you remember when there were the trucker protests in Canada? Those people were framed as Nazis, but in fact what they were doing were imposing medical mandates that turned out to be wrong, flat wrong, straight up wrong. Now look what they're normalising in Canada. Ending people's lives out of compassion. How long is it before they say, do you know what would be good? Is if we just grew you in little cells like in the Matrix, and then you could toil underground for our robot overlords. Out of kindness, mind. Could you talk me through this again? Yeah, we've got an acronym for it. MAID. Made in Manhattan, but did in Canada.
And actually for people with terminal illness and other diseases, we could mitigate that suffering and help them have a better life. And yet now we are seeing that as an appropriate request to die and ending their lives very quickly.
Sharon Scribner's family say she was repeatedly offered MAID when she was dying of lung cancer in hospital at the age of 81.
We had the nurse come in saying, you should fill this paper out, Sharon, before you go so you can get on the list to see the MAID doctor. And my mom said, no thanks. They really did not want us to leave until my mom had signed these papers.
You brought your mum home to die. What was her death like?
Beautiful.
That's actually an interesting point. It's a kind of rejection of life itself. All of us know that one day we will die, that life here is finite, temporary. In the temple of the body, nothing is permanent. We are passing through here. In a sense, that directs us to eternal values. Grace, kindness, love, service, our fallen and broken nature, our need to love one another. It's interesting and encouraging to hear that lady say that her mother, Sharon, God rest her eternal soul, died peacefully rather than being ushered off by some grim reaper with a syringe instead of a scythe, hacking their way through Ottawa and Vancouver. There's another one. There's another soul. There's another soul. Because ultimately, isn't the combat and conflict we're involved with the vying for supremacy of human power versus holy power? We have come to believe that through rationale and reason, we can match God, that we have supremacy over God. We can measure the distance to the stars. We understand the microbial world. Observing something is not the same as knowing what it means or how it was made or what the point of everything is. Did you say made? Yeah. Well, we can sign you up. No! Sorry! It was a mistake. I didn't mean it. Too late!
There was a classic example in Canada of a quadriplegic woman who'd made her own way all the way and then decided that all of a sudden her job dried up for some reason and she applied for a disability benefit. They told her it would take 9 months. So she was going to be income free for 9 months. So she decided to go for medical assistance in dying.
Look, there's a lot of paperwork involved in feeding you. Yeah, is there? Would you consider MAID? There you go. All you got to do, just sign here. There you go. Night-night. Enjoy the lake of fire.
And she was told she could get that in 90 days.
It would be easier for us if you killed yourself. That's what Canada's come down to. And you'll see more and more of this. This idea will be piloted in Canada and then it will spread across the world because it's one of those examples of WEF style, WHO style, globalist style. Wouldn't it be easier if we had maximal control over them, if they had chips under their skins, a vaccine program from the moment they are born to the moment they die, which in itself will be delivered by an injection. Hopefully your whole life can become, you emerge from your mother or some pod, vaccinate, 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 vaccinate. You go to school, vaccinate, vaccinate, inoculate, inoculate. And then finally, eventually, when you can fulfill no service in the godless hell on earth that they're creating, they vaccinate life itself straight out of you. The final vaccination against consciousness, against God. Have you ever caught yourself reaching out for a bad habit without even thinking about it? Maybe it's stress, boredom, or just wanting to fit in. Well, that's where Fume comes in. It's not about quitting, it's about replacing. Fume, the sponsor of this video, offers a simple and enjoyable way to break from bad habits while still having something satisfying to reach for. No vapor, no nicotine, just flavor. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors that satisfy the craving without the downside. Whether you're looking to keep your hands busy or curb an urge, Fume's premium wooden design is built for both flavor and function. Sleek, portable, built to last. Designed with a high-quality build and sleek aesthetic, Fume feels premium in your hand. It's easy to take anywhere, whether you're at work, traveling, or just relaxing at home. My favorite flavor of Fume, it gotta be crisp mint. It's so minty. It's so crispy. I got something to do with my hands. I got something to do with my mouth. Hey, it keeps me occupied, baby. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume as part of their habit change journey. If you're ready to try it for yourself, now's the time. For a limited time, if you order the journey pack using my code, RussellBrand, 2 S's, 2 L's, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Click this link, tryfume.com/RussellBrand, or scan the QR code on the screen to get yours today. Fume, try Fume. Delicious flavored air and delicious flavored fun.
And she made that as a point for the challenge in the disparity of what may happen when you offer this as a way out and would have been accepted for medical assistance in dying.
This article in Zero Hedge covers how ideas that are already practiced in Canada are coming to the UK. This month, officials in England, Wales and Scotland will be considering legislation to legalise government-assisted euthanasia, end-of-life bills, with laws similar to those passed in Canada in 2016. The legislation proposes letting terminally ill people end their life if they, what's the criteria? I mean, I well understand, if you're in the UK, might start to seem like a favourable option. Oh, what's Keir Starmer doing now? Oh, he's hanging out with some arsonists. He's saying everyone's racist because of the murder of 3 little girls in Southport. He's funding an unwinnable. What's he going to do next? I don't know. I might just go on holiday to Canada. Well, you don't need to now because suicide is coming to a country near you. Are you over 18? Look at this. It's doing it like it's a job application. Are you over 18, living in England or Wales? Have you been registered with a GP for at least 12 months? Yes. Do you have the mental capacity to make a choice free from coercion and pressure? Unless you consider coercion and pressure the abiding and ongoing misery of living in the UK. Can you make separate declarations, witnesses? I mean, we're talking now about the literal bureaucracy of death. The fact is, life belongs to God. You do not belong to yourself. It is not your life. You are in the flow and stream of life, connected to the source of life, and you have the opportunity to live by the principles of God or the principles of man. But the principles of man have been captured by the evil one. Why is the world so evil? Well, look around. Every single system has been occupied, inhabited, and overtaken by dark forces. They normalize hedonism, decadence, destruction, and cruelty, all under the auspices of nihilism. If nothing means anything, then do what you want. If we can measure everything, then do what you want. There is no God. And in a godless world, why not just commit in Canada? Or now, thanks to your government, Cardiff or Luton. You can commit wherever you are. Dun, 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 dun. MAID. This type of legalized should be treated as distinct from the physician-assisted made available in the US in 10 different states. There's a stark difference between an individual going out on their own to seek a doctor to help them commit while suffering a terminal condition versus the government actively encouraging the public to commit and helping them to do it using your tax dollars. Let me know in the comments and chat if you can see that plain, evident and obvious distinction. There's plenty of room for debate in both cases, but without doubt, no government should be in the business of mass euthanizing the population. There is far too much temptation for the practice to be expanded beyond people who are already dying. Case in point, Canada's euthanasia system has been in place for less than a decade, and already the government is expanding guidelines for people simply in need of treatment as well as people with mental health issues. This is well beyond the scope of terminal illness. Just let that phrase roll around in your mouth for a while. Guidelines. What are the guidelines for Don't do it. Life is sacred. It's not your life anyway. God is real. You're here to serve God. Yeah, I get all of that. Now, what are the guidelines for government-assisted? We're just going to be expanding those guidelines. A clear indication that we are out of step with our purpose and divine guidance is the fact that there are now government-assisted guidelines. Could there be anything more anodyne, stringent and bureaucratic than the government giving you guidance on how to end your own life? Let me know in the comments and chat. Keep in mind that the original argument for government euthanasia in 2016 is that it would only happen in very rare cases and only for people with severe illness and suffering great pain. As is often the case, they begin with something that's reasonable, don't they? Think about the pro-life, pro-choice debate. I think most people say, oh, well, what about in indications where the mother's health is at risk or other unfavourable circumstances? And with this little bit of reason, we start pulling at a thread leads to, why don't we just do what we want all of the time? And when you do what you want all of the time, what you create is a type of hell on earth. And that, if there were a devil, would be the aim of the devil. Would you agree? By 2017, after the first government programs were put in place, officials were already arguing for wider application of the program, asserting that euthanasia could save their socialist medical system over $130 million a year in cost. This is one reason why socialist medicine is a bad idea. In other words, killing people is much cheaper than trying to save them. What an extraordinary piece of mathematics. The problem with reason is in the end you determine that only material is real. Only the self is real. Only that which can be demonstrably proved is real. And therefore, you might as well do what you want. That's merely, though it appears, the first step. Yeah, I suppose if there is no God, there can't be any ethics or morality except for our consensual ethics and reality that we come up through reasoned consensus together. And I suppose then that it's arbitrary and can be changed, so I might as well do what I want. That's just one station on the cross that leads to a crucifixion, not so that we can access the divine, but so we can live forever in the profane. If nothing means anything, then you mean nothing, and you might as well be dead because you're nothing but an inconvenience, and your government that you pay for has the authority to make that decision and give you that injection. Only from, tell me, we call it MAID. Only from MAID. By extension, it's also expensive to treat people for mental illness, and mental illness could technically qualify as terminal suffering. So why not offer them options as well? Canada has made mental illness legal grounds for government-aided but the law does not go into effect till 2027. That said, there are multiple reports of such measures being offered already, including accounts by Canadian military veterans with PTSD being told they could qualify for euthanasia. You're a real hero. Thank you for your service. Oh yeah, I'm a bit depressed actually. Well, would you like us to kill you? I feel very lucky to survive those Never mind all that. Night, mate! But it doesn't stop there. Canadian lobby groups are calling for legalisation of government euthanasia for, drumroll please, children. Oh, that's right. People they refer to as mature minors. You're like a mature minor. I suppose you could yourself. Do you notice how children are being gradually recategorised? Mature minors. They'll probably try and get out of paedophilia on that basis. That was a very mature minor. Why shouldn't we traffic these mature minors? Why shouldn't we have brothels of mature minors? Such programs are currently in place in countries like Belgium and the Netherlands, and there are efforts to do the same in Canada. In 2022, the federally funded Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada paid for a study which argued in favour of MAID, medical assistance in dying, for mature minors or children aged over 12 that were deemed mature enough to make their medical decisions. I converted my gender from male to female, and now I'm still depressed. MAID? Godlessness. In other words, MAID programs start out as for the terminally ill, then quietly tiptoe out to the mentally ill, then children who are ill, and eventually they'll apply to mentally ill children. Oh, God help us all. We've seen this kind of Orwellian tiptoe before, but this is a highly sensitive and explosive topic. In terms of mental illness, it seems as though the government are taking advantage of people in moments of weakness and confusion and offering them an easy way out instead of a way to get better. They don't want the public to get better, they want you dead. It's interesting that the activism around legalising suicide for minors coincides with the activism to give children medical independence without parental oversight. The transgender issue and the issue appear to intersect when it comes to medical emancipation. Certainly ideologically and theologically they do, because if there is no God, do what you want. Do what you want with your body, do what you want with your life, end life at any point. What this ultimately is a campaign to claim ultimate authority over everything. If they have ultimate authority, they can do what they want. And if you don't believe something strong enough to oppose them, you will not be sheep guided divinely by a shepherd. You will be cattle destroyed by the industrialized agricultural globalist system that sees you as fuel for its machine and sees you as a sacrifice to their false idols. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. Should Britain and the rest of the UK adopt government programs like Canada, expect them to also exploit healthcare costs and mental health problems as reasons for more death? As of 2024, 1 out of every 20 deaths in Canada was government-assisted suicide. What? 1 in every 20 deaths. They're really getting into it, huh? If they bring children and people dealing with mental illness into the equation, that ratio will skyrocket. This is not a rare procedure, it's a social mainstay.
Amir Farsood has applied for medically assisted dying, known as MAID. He lives in constant agony due to a back injury, but has started the process for end of life.
He's like a normal guy with a backache. Oh, my back. I'd be better off dead. MAID!
Because his rooming house is up for sale and he can't find anywhere else to live that he can afford.
Well, my house is up for sale, can't find somewhere to live. MAID!
He barely survives on Ontario disability support payments, which are just over $1,200 a month.
Wow, do you see how the frame is being expanded and reformed so that 1, anybody could be criminalised at any time. Lucy Connolly, you can be criminalised, penalised and even jailed for free speech. And 2, you qualify for death. Do you see that the kind of power that they are claiming is Foucaultian in scope? The right to kill, the right to control, all masked as what? Compassion. We care so much about people's feelings being hurt that we need to be able to jail anyone. We care so much about your bad back that we demand the right to kill anyone. If you just sign here, don't sign anywhere. Recognise this for what it is. False, counterfeit light, Luciferian evil. And the only way to oppose that is if you have faith in something more powerful than it. And that's not going to be you. And it's not going to be your tribe against their tribe. It has to be more powerful than that.
He doesn't want to die, but being homeless is not an option.
I know in my present health condition I wouldn't survive it anyway.
Farsood meets the criteria for MAID: physical suffering due to disability that cannot be relieved. His doctor, who knows Farsood's real reason for MAID is his fear of being homeless, signed off on the application in August. Farsood needs a second to do the same. There's a 90-day waiting period. He believes he could potentially access MAID in about a month.
I don't wish to be dead, even with the pain, even with the meds. I still want to be.
What Farsood needs is love. What you need is love. And in the end, we're incapable of generating sufficient love and resources because we are fallen and broken. And the reason we're fallen and broken are complex and theological. But what becomes increasingly clear almost with every passing day is that governments around the world and systems of bureaucracy around the world are operating on behalf of an ideology that they claim is rational and motivated by care. But from a Christian perspective, is dark, Luciferian, and where there is light, it's only false light, and is motivated by creating a kind of hell on earth. Oppose it now. Awaken now. Join us. Remember, we stream every day on Rumble at these times. Get Rumble Premium. Be part of our movement. Join us. Help us, for heaven's sake. We have to do something important and urgently, I would contest, to make straight the path for his return. But that's just what the Bible says. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Remember, you can join us on Rumble Premium at these times. In the meanwhile, stay free.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.